Control Ultimate Edition is getting a next-gen patch, which will be available to players at the time of this video dropping, and free to subscribers of PlayStation Plus. I have found it to be one of the most substantial next-gen conversions that takes full advantage of the latest technologies, such as ray tracing and the PlayStation's DualSense controller. When Control initially launched on PC, it was held up as a prime example of the visual possibilities ray tracing can bring to a game, bringing unparalleled depth that was graphically impossible on older technologies. With the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X's upgrade, that is now the case for ray tracing on console. Control takes place almost entirely in the oldest house, the headquarters for the Federal Bureau of Control. The space is filled with windowed offices, reflective tiles, and otherworldly lighting. The environment is ripe to show off the capabilities of ray tracing, which provides true-to-life reflections and lighting. Finding myself in the middle of a firefight in one of the clusters of offices, I'm not only seeing enemies through the glass windows, I'm seeing the reflection of the environment around me. Since the lighting is happening in real time, other windows are then reflected as well, the reflections bouncing off of them doubled up in the glass facing me directly, creating an almost infinite loop of reflections. We obviously see this in the real world constantly, anytime we're in a highly reflective environment, but to witness it in a game is breathtaking, something I never thought I'd say regarding a virtual office space. Control's already incredible physics, with supernatural bullets shattering the glass into 1,000 pieces and tearing up any objects in their path, pair excellently with these visual enhancements to make it one of the most immersive gaming experiences I've ever played around in. The next-gen upgrade allows players to forgo ray tracing in favor of 60 frames per second for those that like to focus on performance over graphics. I've been incredibly impressed by the performance modes in next-gen titles. While on the PS4 Pro or Xbox One X I felt like they sacrificed too much in resolution to hit higher frame rates, the PS5 and Series X have been able to maintain clarity and instead sacrifice ray tracing benefits. In games like Spider-Man Miles Morales, while the ray tracing was outstanding, having Miles zip around the city in 60 frames per second just felt right, moving too fast to really catch the city's reflections as he swung by a skyscraper. In Control, the 60 FPS feels fantastic, and the simulated lighted reflections do a good job in moments to still provide great textures. But there are certain moments where the game feels incredibly flat compared to it running with ray tracing. So I think that for most people, capping the game at 30 frames per second and turning on those real-time reflections is going to be the best way to experience Control. A feature that proved to be more than a gimmick at the launch of the next-gen systems was the haptic feedback in the PS5's DualSense controller, with every first-party title from Sony and a handful of third-party games taking tremendous advantage of the improved vibrations. The standout game for many was AstroBot's Playroom, a pack-in title for the system that showcased the true breadth of what was possible with the DualSense controller. The pitter-patter of rain on AstroBot's head, the overwhelming rumble of intense winds, and the tension in the triggers when using a springy frog costume. While other games certainly had excellent implementations of the controller's haptics, none came close to AstroBot's execution. Control on the PS5 is the game that comes closest. As the lead character Jessie runs through the FBC, the rumble in the controller changes depending on whether she is stepping on carpet, tile, or concrete. The tension of the triggers alter depending on which weapon is selected, and you are given powerful varied vibrations when using Jessie's force abilities. I found myself just getting stuck in the middle of a cluster of enemies to dispatch them with the psychic push, rather than playing it safe and taking them out with my gun, because I simply could not get enough of the haptic feedback. I look forward to unlocking further powers to see how they differentiate, and I urge players to consider playing the game on PS5 over Xbox Series X with how satisfying the haptics are. With the game being free this month on PlayStation Plus, there's a huge incentive to do so anyway.